What is up, guys? Stephen Jeffrey of SJ Relics. I'm trying to give y'all a different view today. So forgive me, I've got a little weird reflection in my glasses and all that good stuff. But hope you guys are doing well this week. And I have had a fantastic but hot week. It has been so stinking hot. Again, I'm coming to you from Beaufort, South Carolina, that low country weather. It is, in the words of the knife doctor, my grass in my yard has been thoroughly nitrogenated. We've had so much rain, but with that rain comes the sweltering humidity and heat. So I've been dripping wet in my shed trying to finish some leather projects and get some video out. So thus the new background. I'm just trying to give you a different angle of SJ Relics, and welcome to my home. See Clint back here, see my chief over here. Anyway, I got all kinds of cool things to look at around my house. Cigar box over here from my cigar box guitar building phase, which I built many. And if you're wondering back here, this is a armadillo. It's an instrument made out of armadillo my brother gave me. But anyway, I just wanted to come to you today on this just very special occasion for me. I just finished a piece of leather that challenged me. It's probably, believe it or not, it's probably one of the hardest things that I've done as of thus date from my beginning of leather work. And it's because it was the pattern of what it was. It was a pattern for a knife that I don't own. So I had to kind of find things in my collection that fit that. And of course, the way it was going to be worn, I wanted it to fit right and service this most honorable knife well. A Tony Bose case back pocket, that of which I'll show a picture right here. And if you notice that lanyard bead, that is from the Lumbee, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you the Lumbee Indians, the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina. This is that beautiful flip. I'm going to show some other footage. I don't want to show too much, but the back has a pocket clip. Again, this will be worn in the back pocket with that awesome Tony Bose pattern knife. And hopefully it will fit. I have fit a knife fairly similar size in this. So again, stoked to make this, honored to make it. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about the person that this was made for, who commissioned this. Forgive me, I'm gonna be looking at my notes because I want to kind of go over the Lumbee tribe a little bit, and a fascinating history. Of course, all of our Native American tribes. We just the American history runs deep and wide, and there's so many people that make that up, our story to how we got there today. For many years, I thought, and of course, you see my hair color, which I do have hair, but you see my hair color, and I was a redhead, but for many years in my family, I was the only redhead, and except for an aunt who passed away, got killed very tragically in a car accident in the 60s. But so I never got the honor of meeting her. So a lot of the people in my family were darker hair, dark skin. And there was a story in my family, of course, of my great-great-grandmother, and her name was Keziah Bear. The story about her was that she was an American Indian princess. Of course, how many of us have that story? And when we look at Indians, though we look at history and what all went on there, but we look at Indians as an American. And one of the reasons I like to do my image here of the Indian, of the chief, is it's a sign of strength to me. It's a sign of resilience, perseverance, that free American spirit. So me, like so many of you, have I'm sure, the stories of being direct descendants of the American Indians. For me, my great great-grandmother was Keziah Bear. That said, after doing DNA study, and of course my brother and a couple of my cousins have done extensively our ancestry family tree, we found out that my grandmother was actually German. Keziah, from Keziah Bear here to Keziah Bear, like Bear aspirins. That said, part of American history is the World War I and World War II, and the view of Germans and of course Jewish people and people coming here and changing their name, or just going with the story. And so there was a picture of her. Of course, she had dark hair, darker features. She had worked in the field, worked very hard. Was an older lady by the time my mom met her, and of course my mom was very young. She met her once, and she, it just went along with that story. And of course, she had married into another family, so she had a different last name. I think it was Theus at that point in time, and you just go with the story, and through difficult history of being from Germany, or like I say, being Jewish, or from wherever, we just kind of go with things, and these stories get told, and seeing Native Americans as being, for me, like something strong, strength, resilience, willing to persevere, just that free American spirit of what we think of with the Wild West and all. There's just something to that we've romanticized, and it's a beautiful, and at the same time can be a very sad part of our story. But the Lumbee tribe, as I dove deeper, they have just a deep history. They're the coastal part of North Carolina. I think it's the Lumbee River, Robeson County. Of course, you get into into upper part of South Carolina. I think, and if I remember right, Cedell, and so, which I think is related to Cedell, South Carolina, and y'all can correct me on that. And that's the thing, is I'm looking at all this, and it's hitting me, and I'm hearing all these names that I'm familiar with, that I've heard of. And so for many years, I thought I had my part and my stake in the whole American Indian thing, and to find out, like so many people, that I wasn't. I was English. I was Scottish. Imagine that one. But by most part, Scottish. There was some African descent in there. There's, as Americans, we're made up of so many things, but we want to grab that one part that defines us. Whether, for some folks, it's being Irish. Everybody's Irish one day a year, or whatever. But that story of the American Indians is a story that endures and resonates with so many people. And so that's why I guess I want it so bad to be a part of that. But that said, that is an image that I've used, here on my leather. And, doing leather work, I got told by a lady named Tina in church that I was going to be doing leather. And she brought me, and I've told this story of this old Roy bag, 55-pound bag of dog food, old Roy, with the pull top string. And she's like, God told me to bring you this leather, and here I am, a year later from that, riding down the road, and I got to thinking about that bag of leather. It was in our rehearsal space in Savannah, Georgia. That's where our band stored their equipment, and I got to thinking about that leather, and what I didn't know is God will use something and catapult you to a road that you never knew existed. And so here I am on that road, long since, many years past the band now. And I'm still doing leather, and I'm meeting some awesome people. So with that said, I want to introduce Cedell Hammond Jr. Cedell and I have had about 3 amazing conversations. This guy is a Army veteran. He is a family man. He has retired from several other jobs, of which they're all alphabets. So Cedell, you can drop in the comments that he had these other jobs that he's retired from. He is now a professional truck driver, which he does part-time. Cedell is not much older than I am, but he's worked very hard in his life, and he's getting where he can kind of work as he picks and chooses. And he's got a beautiful family. I've trolled his Facebook. Just a really awesome guy. Likes to fish. I think he likes to hunt. And I know one thing, the guy loves some pocket knives. This man has a collection like nobody's business. He sent me picture after picture, and I'm just, every one of them, just picking my jaw up off the ground. Just wonderful case collection. He sent me a picture last night of a 1930s to 1940s Camillus that he had just restored, and does beautiful, beautiful restoration work. But passion for knives, and again, just an awesome guy. So Cedell, and I want to pronounce his name right because it's Cedell, asked me a couple months ago about doing a knife slip for a case back pocket, and that of which I accepted. And then when I accepted it, I got this image, and this is the Lumbee Indians. This is their tribal symbol. It's a circular shaped seal divided into 4 equal parts. The 4 equal parts reflect the circle of life and the interconnectedness of these elements. And then with the red represents birth. It represents the east and spring. Yellow represents growth, the south, and summer. Black represents maturity, the west, and fall. And white represents death, the north, and winter. And so as I was working on this slip and studying a little bit about the history, which there is a mighty fine documentary, and I was reading the comments on that, people that are connected to this tribe, and some folks said I'm crying as I'm watching this, but it's just very moving because for those of y'all who don't know, this was one of our last tribes to get recognized by our government. They still don't receive any benefits in the terms of like the Cherokees do. But this is a nationally recognized tribe, the Lumbee Indians, and I am honored to have the privilege to make this slip for Brother Cedell Hammond Jr. Again, a shout out. I'm going to put some footage at the end. Again, amazing knife collection. This is a little trapper deal. This is, of course, the standard Stephen Jeffrey. And I've got a surprise. He sent me a surprise yesterday, and I want to do that, carry that part out in a whole nother episode. But again, I was honored to do this. I'm honored to read and understand a little more about the history about the Lumbee tribe, especially a tribe being so close to the edge of North Carolina and South Carolina, and the place that they occupied, with all the names that I've heard of counties and places and families of names that ring true to my southern South Carolina self. Again, thank you for this opportunity. Again, check out these pictures at the end. This was great opportunity. Real quick, pocket check. I was at work today. Check out them teners on that bad boy. This is part of the 30-day Richter challenge. This is my old timer 194 OT. Again, this was my childhood first knife. Actually, this wasn't the very first one because that one got chopped up by a lawnmower. But anyway, I've been carrying this bad boy and using it, and this is not 415ers. Of course, this is carbon steel, so it's just happening. But it has been fun to connect with this knife, put my own DNA on it, and use it this month. And of course, the month ain't over for me yet because I was a little late to the challenge, but I do intend to carry this puppy for 30 days. But use your knives, enjoy them. There's some that you need to put on a shelf and just look at them. And I understand that, some safe queens, but there's some things that in life we just need to not just look at, we need to enjoy and put our DNA and our story, that when we pass on, the Lord tarry, the Jesus doesn't come back soon, that when we pass on, that we can pass these things on to our children and grandchildren, and they can say, that was my daddy's knife. That's his marks. That said, let me show you this. Well, I don't have it up here, but guitars. I look up here, I've got a load of guitars, and I'll show those in another episode. I've bought some really nice guitars over the years, and I've used every one of them. I've dinged them. I've scratched them. Not purposely, you don't want to purposely just go and tear something up. But at the end of the day, it's a tool. And it's better when shared. And when I got up and I played those guitars and they got dinged on the microphone stand, or the case, closed and put that little case bite in it, or, pick scratches and haze, that made that instrument special. That's why we like Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar. That's why we like Willie Nelson's trigger, is because those guitars tell the story of those players that own them. This knife, now that I finally ripped the Band-Aid off, this knife will tell the story of the person that owned it. This knife slip, Cedell's not going to just put this on a shelf and look at it. He may, and if he chooses to do that, that's fine. There's no judgment on that because, again, we are collectors. There's nothing wrong with collecting and having safe queens. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's some things that are so valuable, I understand. You just put it there and the value is in owning it and passing it on intact. But some things, the value is in using it and this thing getting worn. And as a maker, me seeing it a year later or 2 years later, and the fact that it was used and that it was loved by somebody, that's it right there. And that's so much of why we love stuff, especially for those that like vintage stuff and antique stuff, and those of us that like old pocket knives. We get excited. Yeah, it's cool to find a mint condition knife. That's cool. I've found those and I'm stoked by it. But I'm just as stoked by those old knives to still have some life left in them that I can bring home and clean up and put my story on them and add them in my collection and think about how they were used. So anyway, use your knife, enjoy them, enjoy your collection, and share that collection with others. And that's part of it. Stuff is just stuff at the end of the day. Have a blessed and wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend this weekend. Stay cool, but get out and do something. And whatever you do, wherever you go, carry a good knife. This is Stephen Jeffrey of SJ Relics signing off. Again, shout out to Cedell of the Lumbee Indians. It was an honor and a privilege, brother. Thank you. God bless.